Spooklicious, the first
What an
episode
intro.
podcast. Yeah, here on a spooky day, the day before Halloween. Though a lot of people, and by a lot, I mean relative to diamonds you can find at the beach. So not that many people are going to listen tomorrow on Halloween. A rare number, a rare few, elevated few.
Yeah, there'll be a few people that want to listen to a podcast as they're trick-or-treating or following their kids, going house to house, getting what they hope is candy.
Razor blades,
No.
only razor blades.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the memes people have posted about the stupid crap. They're like, watch out because I just found the entire symphony orchestra from New York City inside my child's candy bar. Careful, parents.
Careful.
I'm handing out absentee ballots. So
I think you're going to say absent.
and absent.
Yeah.
Both.
Speaking of absentee ballots, we got ours here mailed to Virginia from California, just like Gavin promised. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Good to see that top
Does that work?
I opened the mailbox here and I see a big giant election letter, and I go, this is weird because, we already voted. And it's the California ballot coming in your mail all the way here to the East Coast.
Did it double up, buddy?
To top it off, they sent the sample ballot, which is another thing they send, and then also a basically like, well, like
They
it's
tell you,
Yeah. Ballot is?
you get a sample
No.
ballot, which is like the same thing as the regular ballot, but then it's like a workbook of information. Here in Virginia, we voted. There were 4 things to vote for. Seeing the California voter guide that showed up, there's like
it's like
100 things they're voting for.
Yeah.
Like every cycle, they're voting for 100 different things. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Deeply explained in each one. All of them horse shit, by the way. Rarely does anything. I vote no on almost everything. I do read them though, because there's some that are good, like they're going to actually get rid of rent control laws, which make everything more expensive and are
There's
stupid.
no way that's passing.
No, never. It'll never pass because people are too dumb to understand it. And the people that have rent control don't want to get rid of it. All the rich people that are living and paying $500 a month don't want to get rid of it. So it's never going to happen. But I don't know. Whatever. I tell everybody every year, and I want to get a sign that just says, I voted for everything you hate. Just put that on the front of my house. Everything you voted for, I voted against. Flat out. That's the statement.
Yeah.
Just
Not
go
even
with it.
a prop measure. Just vote no.
Vote no on everything.
Vote no. Yeah.
But anyway,
Nothing
we
else.
could do election stuff after the election. Here, it's Halloween tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to it. We got 2 shows lined up. We got Twilight Zone, original spooky show, black and white
Right.
style. And
First
we got
one
the
they made.
brand new, diverse Grotesquerie with the black cop from Reno 911, who was hilarious on that show, being quite the opposite of that on this show. Quite the
Yes.
opposite of entertaining, some might argue, on this show.
Not very. Yeah. The whole show
mind
is
it.
kind of odd. Yeah.
Well, we'll unpack that very soon. So I didn't like it.
Right on.
They make
Well, we're
shows. Everyone's got their own thing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
did
we're-
you guys enjoy my pole vaulting costume, by the way? While we're talking about
I
Halloween
did.
stuff.
I
My
did.
French pole vaulter got his dick
After
caught
you
on the pole.
explained it, I was
Yeah.
trying to
How did
figure
you-
out what it was for a minute. I'm like, French, like window. That doesn't make sense because you have like
Yeah.
a bar
Window.
on the bottom and like a pole. I'm like, is it a window? What the fuck
French
is that?
limbo would have made more sense. Like you just have to cross your dick through the bar in French limbo, not your whole body. It's just.
I think in French limbo, it's 2 dicks. You have to go under a dick, and then it's hard to do it when you've got a massive erection. Being a Frenchman, who
You know what would have been
going on
even
sliding
more
under those
funny?
dicks.
Is if you went
It's
as
funny.
French- no,
lawyer.
more funny. Is if you went as a person you were with your enhanced member, and
That was
Sandy went as the wife of the French president with an enhanced member.
That would have been great.
You could have
Like-
bought in bulk.
Well, I got a nice compliment. I got to the bar, and the bartender, I was like,
That-
she's like, "Oh,
Those
I love
costumes
your
only
costume."
make sense in France.
No, people got it, man. A lot of people got it. It was one of the you usually either got it immediately and knew I was the French guy who knocked the pole off with his dick, or didn't get it. So half the time I spent
I
explaining
imagine-
what I was. People
yeah,
go
the people
like,
that-
"Oh, you want to wrestle?" And I'm like, No. I
What?
mean, I've got this erection to rub on you if you want to wrestle, but no. And then some guy tried to like, first I come in the bar and he's like, oh, that costume's amazing. You're the man. And then later on in the night, like tried to fight me after grabbing my dick and balls and then called me gay. So I think maybe he was closet gay, trying to fight his way out of that closet. I was like, get the fuck out of my way, man, before I kill you.
He's not even closet anymore. He's just like full on Halloween gay.
After grabbing me in my real, not my fake balls and dick that were above the pole, my underballs and dick in the costume, which were very apparent. So
and he waited for you in the
man.
bathroom for that. Like it wasn't just on your way in.
I'm lucky I cut the pole short enough, or else I would have had to, when I went in the bathroom, it would have gotten stuck. And I just would have had to piss my pants out in the hallway.
Well, that would have been funny too.
Through the pole into the urinal. You're like, hey, you gotta need that. Well, we can share.
Well, I almost had to do emergency. Like there was no way to get my member out to piss other than to lift the entire singlet to the side. And you can't just get your wiener out there because it'll still pee down your leg. So my entire sack and cock were like just out because that's the only way I could do it. Fortunately, it was single stall bathrooms.
Everybody knows there's that guy at the gym, right? The urinal guy who pees through the side, the pant leg of the shorts.
That's me.
They call it the Van Gundy.
Hi, the Stan Van Gundy. That's what Van Gundy did.
Yeah, because when you picture a guy doing that at the gym, he looks like that guy.
No, it's true. The guys wear jeans to the gym. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
All right, go for it.
Which do you want to do first? Do you want to do Twilight Zone first, or do you want to start off with the new one, Grotesquerie, which is an FX show?
Let's do Twilight Zone.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, iconic show, as you all know. You've got the cold intro, the whole death. You're going into an unknown dimension, right? With the classic Twilight Zone music, which we're not going to play because then the videos will be blocked. But
can we do the
yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah. So amazing.
You are
going to sad that the first episode, I thought for a second had William Shatner in it. Because multiple episodes have him in it. One, he's at a diner where like a creepy machine gives you a fortune and it says you're going to die if you leave the diner. Like it tells you like all these weird fortunes. So people just sit in the diner terrified to leave. There's another one he's in. It's a great episode. This one did not. It was the pilot episode called "Is Anybody Out There?" I think it was called. Is anybody here?
Where is everyone? I thought.
What's that?
Yeah, it is. It is. Where is
everyone?
Where is everyone? Yeah, where is everyone? Where a man who's in a military-esque outfit is entered in a town. He wakes up and looks around, and at first he's just like confused. He's trying to find his way around, and slowly figures out that no one is in the town whatsoever. He goes to the diner. The creepy thing is, of course, food's cooking, right? Food's on the stove. Coffee's in the pot. He's got money in his pocket.
Weren't there like 4 pies on the stove?
Yeah, pies were on the stove.
Why would you not have eaten a piece of like every pie? Right?
Well, because he's an honest man, Rico. He kept going. I have $3.85.
Yeah. He kept calling out his order too. He's like, eggs, bacon, coffee, eggs, bacon, coffee.
I did like that. I want to try that move. Just walk into a diner and just yell eggs, bacon, coffee, then walk into the back kitchen and pour myself coffee by screaming it.
Right. It was like, customer.
$2. Can you imagine if that was a thing? The homeless would even be more crazy that way. They're just walking into diners with their $2.
I got $2. It's like the Chris Rock sketch from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, where he's like, I just want a rib for 20 cents. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. And then he has like, it's like a roll of 70/100s. He's just an asshole. That's a great movie. So this guy's walking around the town. I mean, if you're in that situation, he walks around for a while and can't seem to find anybody. A phone rings. No one's on the other end. And then in what's a hilarious little bit, the thing is, this episode, there's not too much to tell, unfortunately. It doesn't have as many twists and turns. One of my favorite parts of the episode, though, he thinks he sees a lady in like a pickup truck. Right. So he's like, oh, nice lady. He goes up to talk to her. And then for a hot minute, I really thought he was going to have sex with her.
I think he did. Yeah, he definitely did, because then it like the whole scene shifts and then he's talking to her as if it was like pillow talk. He's like, yeah, I thought I saw this stuff. Didn't know what's going on, and thought I saw you, and you came into my life. That kind of stuff. He totally jacked off on that mannequin.
I mean, again, similar to the pie, why would you not? If nobody's around, man. Just, now's the time to indulge your baser instincts.
No one's looking.
But yeah, so anything else do you remember from this early part of it? Because it gets into, like I said, the problem with this, there's not too much to get into. There's just...
Well, is this where the thought of American Pie, the movie, came from? Like someone was watching the pilot episode of Twilight Zone and he's like, there's 4 pies. Why are you not fucking any of the pies?
Yeah, no one's in the town. There's no cameras, no shame. Just fuck the pies.
One of them.
Yeah. He does.
He does thumb. Fuck one, eat one. Fuck one, eat one.
Yeah.
Keeps going into different buildings.
I don't think I'd fuck it then eat it. I think I'd maybe leave a piece.
But you could fuck a pie and then you eat the other one. That's what I'm saying.
But eventually you're going to run out of pies because there's nobody there to make them.
That's true. You might want to fuck the first.
You worry about that later.
Yeah, you might want to eat them. There's another scene where he happens upon, I think he goes into like a police station type of place. And he sees a smoldering cigar, right? Implying that somebody was just there smoking a cigar. And that kind of makes him, he's like looking, right? He's always running around the town looking for people, thinking that he's one step behind, like a real person. Yeah,
like there's somebody that's just, they're fucking with him so hard. They're just seconds before he gets there. Same with like the coffee, like the coffee's like boiling. So he's like, there's got to be somebody here. And then I think he finally realizes, he goes in a movie theater where the movie's playing. It's like, why is the movie playing if there's nobody here? And I think that's when it was like an Air Force picture. Like he realizes that he's an Air Force guy. He's looking down at his outfit. He's like, oh, I'm in the Air Force. Maybe there was a bomb drop. Maybe I'm on a mission. Maybe something like that. He's trying to figure this out. What's going on? How can it be? What's possible? And just slowly, though, starts to go a bit kooky, wacko, insane because he can't come to grips with the fact that he's the only person there, that he's utterly alone.
Which is what the Twilight Zone seems to do, is make you crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any theories? I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know that I've ever seen an episode of the Twilight Zone before.
I've seen a lot, but this one I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen the first
I definitely hadn't seen this
theories on what was going on.
I thought originally that he might have been dreaming, which is what he thought too. He goes, I want to wake up now. I'm ready to wake up.
Yeah.
And then I thought, when he's not dreaming, that maybe he's in, just kind of the future or some kind of weird alternate, like he slept for a long time, right? Like that's always what I think in the movies where they wake up in the future.
I thought he was dead, and I thought this was like the purgatory or something, because he even says like, I woke up, or I don't know what happened. I was just walking along the highway, and that's the first thing I remember. And I'm like, well, he died in like a car crash, and he's at the location where he's dead. He just can't see. So he's like moving around, but he can't see people. That's why but he can see what's going on around it. That's why there's pies. That's why there's coffee. When he
that's kind of cool. I like that idea. Maybe, it's like the opposite of what you usually see, where the people can,
like that's cigarette or cigar burning in the ashtray, and it's like, well, someone is actually sitting in that chair in another dimension smoking it, but you just can't see anyone because you're dead and you haven't figured it out yet.
This is what the Twilight Zone does to people, man. And twists
I thought it was
thinking.
I thought it was going to be something where and maybe it's just because I like this movie from the 80s. There was some movie from the 80s with one of the guys from Weekend at Bernie's in it, the shorter guy. They were not Jonathan Silverman, or maybe Jonathan Silverman.
Andrew McCarthy?
Maybe. But they were in a town. They were Americans who found themselves brought into a town that was like stuck in the 1950s. And they're like, your job is to make it cool and hip, and you're going to open a nightclub here. And they're like, awesome. And I can't remember the name of this film. I should look it up. But it turns out at the end of the movie, they were two Americans brought into a Russian camp, like a Russian spy city, where all these people are Russian, training to be Americans so they can infiltrate American society. And these two goofballs were there to try to bring them into modern times. Hold on, 80s movie.
Right, just kind of like Russians are like, our intel only steps into 1950s. We need to kidnap some American
experts.
Cool 80s American kids to give us the cool.
Oh my God, John Travolta was in it. It was John Travolta and the guy from. Hold on, I'll show you the poster and the guy from Weekend at Bernie's. Oh no, it wasn't even the guy from Weekend at Bernie's. I don't even know who this guy is. It looks like him. Check this.
Good
check
thing
this poster
this isn't
out.
a movie podcast
with the guy who looks like the guy from Weekend at Bernie's.
and the back of some chick. He kind of does look like that guy, I guess.
Yeah, look at that. Look at John Travolta, full mullet.
Kind of looks like that guy from the Saw movies too, right? Like the puppet.
He does in this picture. It was an awesome movie. I highly recommend it. The Experts.
4.9. It's highly recommended.
Don't trust it. Those people didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't appreciate those idiotic 80s movie reviewers didn't appreciate the gem that they had.
Ryan Doyle Murray is in it.
Of course. I think he's the mayor.
Is this where John Travolta and Kelly Preston
RDM?
Is that what they...
You know what? It actually very well might be.
They could all have... What, didn't she die or something? But
Kelly Preston? I'm not up on my Kelly Preston dead or alive facts.
I'm pretty sure she did. It was... Yeah, she died like 3 years ago. But when she was alive, they would go to cocktail parties and people would ask how they met. They would say, that's the funniest story. You haven't seen the movie The Experts? And everyone, they had seen the movie. They're like, of course. It's on our VHS collection and we love it much.
So that was my theory, was that this guy was in a Russian town and it's like an Air Force guy and they drop him into town to see what this American would do and learn from the American. That was my theory.
So we all had different theories. Very interesting.
And they were all wrong. Well, I'd say the dream one was the closest.
Yeah.
Well, he kept saying, I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to wake up.
Yeah. So to jump to the end, this episode's so old, we won't leave you hanging here. It turns out after the guy's freaking out and he starts to go crazy and he's like, get me out of here. So eventually they wake him up. He is in fact in a quasi dream because what he is, he's in an airplane hangar in a tiny little box with a projector screen, and he's in isolation. What they did was, I guess, test how long a human could be in isolation, even with entertainment. So the entertainment, the reason it was like in this little town and there was a movie playing was because they were projecting entertainment on the TV to try to keep him sane in isolation. And it was because that man was going to go to outer space.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was about to see how long can we keep a man in isolation while we send him to the moon.
But that's what you want. You want to drive somebody completely insane before trusting them with a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment at that point in time.
Right.
They're like, wow, you really went insane up there. He's like, I'll get him next time. I'll be fine. Pop me in there.
Maybe this is what led them to fake the moon landing and just show it from a projector screen.
That is a fantastic theory. I like it, Rico. I like that a lot. That is why they faked the moon landing.
It doesn't take that long to get to the moon. You know, they can get to the moon pretty quick these days.
And how did they know how long it would take to get to the moon when they'd never been there?
That's why they think that maybe the early man, by early man, I mean 60s.
Well, they probably launched monkeys we don't know about. Little timers.
Maybe they thought you had to go like around the earth or around the moon.
And then you get up there, you're like, all this traffic.
Well, this is terrible.
Hey, nothing up there.
This is awful.
All this floating garbage up here.
Yeah,
looks like Puerto Rico.
Not a golf course or a bar or nothing up here. This is terrible.
I got off. I got raped by a moon man. And then I had to get right back in the capsule, come home because I didn't have enough food. Didn't have enough rations. All my space ice cream was gone.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird, lackluster ending where you just see a guy in a little metal box with some tubes coming out, and you go, "All right, so that was where their kind of playing around with the whole sci-fi genre where
it was a
the
happy
brain
ending.
and the government. Yeah, I suppose he wasn't
He
anywhere in
adjusted to the
danger.
fact that he had been fucked with pretty well.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he knew what he was getting in with. I mean, I think that's the thing. The premise was he has to go in and get tested. But yeah, it was a happy ending, which was a letdown. I'm like, this is the Twilight Zone. He wasn't even in the Twilight Zone. He was just dreaming in his own head, and then he got out of the box. The Twilight Zone is that you don't get out of the box. But I guess that's what they had to learn. They probably didn't test this with audiences well enough.
Yeah, you got to workshop it a little bit.
Well, and also it's the season. It's the first episode, first season. They can't just blow people's minds away. This is a very,
I mean, you can't have a first
simple
episode where you say stuff someone's faces with their own father at a dinner table,
no.
like we're going to talk about.
Yes, but the people were, they're just coming out of the war. It's the 60s. You got to give people a little, you got to build a base.
Little
You
runway.
you can't hit them with all
Ease
sorts of weird
people in.
stuff. Yeah, you got to be like, oh, it was in his mind. Okay, the government's doing it. All right.
And it's for America. All right, they're waving flags at the end.
Woo! Right.
This is the most patriotic show I've ever watched. All right,
Dad-
Twilight Zone. We got the America's conquered the Twilight Zone.
There's a
We
little
made it.
boy watching with his dad. His dad goes, "You should sign up for the army, kid."
You like boxes? You don't even cry when I put you in the closet no more.
Yeah, right.
For digging
Go
the
ahead.
Ford. All right, what do you give it?
I'll give it a B. I think it was definitely something that I don't think people saw at the time, but it's pretty old. It's black and white. I don't know what else they could have done different or changed it, but yeah, I say I give it a B. I might watch another one if I see it. It's not something that makes me go, it's no Gilligan's Island. I mean, come on.
No. That's what
No
that-
hot
that's what-
chick.
that's
That
what
should have
adds to
been the
list.
title. Where are all the white women at?
The hottest
Than
woman in this episode
Yeah,
was a mannequin.
that's true. Yeah, that's another reason for the B. Hire a chick, for God's sakes.
You think? Yeah, that's the first thing. If I was in a box, first thing I would have done. Number one, when they opened the box, I would have been covered in my own semen. I mean, what else is there to do? They'd be like, "Oh, what do you fuck those mind pies?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I went to town on those mind pies."
First thing Rico thought too is, I'm fucking those pies.
That's what everyone
That's why we
thinks.
project them in there. People love them.
Gotta give you
People
something.
love the
Basically,
fucking those mind pies.
The whole town of things you could fuck. I don't know why I didn't fuck anything except
Why
for
the
the
pies?
mannequin.
People
That was the
always
obvious.
fucking the pies.
I didn't fuck the cigar. I didn't
Yeah.
fuck the mannequin. I didn't fuck the popcorn at the movie theater.
Didn't
Like,
even come on the phone receiver in the little telephone booth, which is all people did in the 50s for fun.
There was that cool scene where he thought he was stuck in the phone booth.
Yeah, what
that
the
was-
fuck was with that
that was
scene?
really weird.
That was like a scene where
wait.
fear gets a hold of him and he's like afraid, and you then start to think, oh my gosh, he's being trapped. He's being
I
trapped.
have a theory
But
on
no,
that.
he's just opening it the wrong way.
I have a theory on that. I think
Twilight
legitimately the actor got himself stuck in the phone booth and didn't know how to open it, and they just were like, let's just keep it.
Roll
Because
with it.
it was so
Would,
dumb,
yeah.
it made no sense. And he's like, let me out. And he's like, oh, I just pull.
The
It was
phone
like
booth.
literally, it was 2 minutes
yeah.
of that. It was like
It was-
the Far Side comic.
It was built by
The fact it's pushing on the
stagehands.
door.
Stagehands in the 60s that were, theater nerds in the 50s. So they're
Yeah.
the ones that
Pretty
they
dumb. If you
they
think
built
about
that
it, that's a
set.
pretty dumb design to be in a phone booth and have the door open in. You're
Yeah.
already cramped, and you're pulling something closer to you.
Maybe
like
so
the-
if somebody
it's
tries
this-
to assault you in the phone booth, you
It's
can
the
hold
same
it
way-
like that.
It's the same way in
That
the
makes
airplane
sense.
bathroom. The bathroom in the airplane's the same.
Think of
Now,
how many
is
fat
there-
people in America today would get stuck in phone booths regularly.
Is there a better phone booth scene in
That's why they stopped making them.
entertainment movie
That's why.
or TV history than the one in Dumb and Dumber where the guy's
No.
like, I can't hear you. I
Get
can't hear
off the phone.
you." So great.
Yes, the punch through
I'll-
the glass is
I'll
the
never
best
not
one.
love that scene.
Yeah.
Well, the only better phone booth scene, of course, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, for which Rico and I won first place at a costume contest 1 year. to bring it back to Halloween.
Oh, well, October of 2018 for all those keeping score at home.
It was a good year.
Yeah.
Eagles won the Super Bowl. Rico and I won a costume contest. It was a year of victories. It's probably the highlight of my life, I'm being honest. It's been all downhill since then.
What was the grant? Did you guys get a prize from the gay bar that you guys did the contest at?
I don't even know if we collected it. If we did, it was something crappy.
Probably
It
like
might have been like a
coupon.
gift card to the restaurant.
Yeah,
It's not like that.
It's
It's like a
sure.
fake gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to actually try back to use this.
right. It's like, I hear you can have some of the gas in my gas can from my
Right.
lawnmower. Something I already
That
have.
is what I ride around.
Yeah.
All right, so wait, Rico, what do you give it? What's your
I
grade?
give it a B-. I like the mystery of it. It wasn't like it was. Well, it's obviously the 50s. So he graded on that curve. It was 20 minutes, not a lot of dead time, and they wrapped it up. Good. Yeah. I would have preferred if he was dead. I thought that would have been more interesting. But then I guess I would have been let down if he was dead because I figured it out in 2 minutes. So that was dumb.
Oh, no,
yeah,
true.
maybe that. Yeah, I think that's also the thing is to get you to watch. You think you're seeing something, and then the Twilight Zone you were in the Twilight Zone the whole time. Whoa.
Yeah, we were in the zone.
That's
They
how I
had
get
us.
you. I get you.
Yeah, I'll give it a B. Again, it was interesting enough. It kept me engaged. They said you're guessing. You're like, what's going on here? Okay, and it was good. The ending was a letdown, but like you said, it was probably to keep the normies placated and not scare them away in the first episode.
Yeah.
But there are other episodes that get much more interesting. There's one great one where a chick is having surgery on her face and they unwrap her face and she's, you can't hear the doctor. They're like, oh, I hope this surgery works.
Oh yeah,
I've seen so
that
deformed. You see that, right?
Yeah.
They unwrap her and she's so gorgeous. And
Yeah,
then
it's really
she's like, no. They pan up to the doctor and everybody else in the world, these hideously deformed California raisin people.
Yeah, they have like
And,
pig noses and stuff, and they're all like, yeah, right. That was the
That's
Twilight
a good
Zone.
trade-off.
Well, I mean, not if everybody's ugly.
No, because if you're hot and everyone else is ugly, like you're not getting the sexual. I mean, it's all about sex at the end of the day, right? So if you have to bang ugly people, what do you care what you look like? You're banging the ugly. You're looking at the people you're banging, not looking at yourself.
Yeah, but they're not going to bang you because you're too
she's not
ugly
gonna
by
get
their
banged.
standards.
Pig women.
Well, she was a woman, so it's pig men, and maybe the pig men can't get it up for her.
Pig people are getting boned all the time, man.
Yeah.
Got to bang pig pies.
Getting boned all the time. It's America.
Pig pies. All right, moving on.
If someone's in a fucking pie, they'll fuck a pig-faced woman.
That would be a great end of a date, like a terrible first date. Guy gets up, he's like, "I'm sick of you. I'm going to go home and bang a pie."
I got an apple pie and
he only goes
bang my pie.
He only goes to dates at diners just in case, so he's got a backup plan. He's like, "This isn't going well. Can I get a cherry pie?" She's like, "I love cherry pie." It's like, "It's not for you. That's not
to go."
To go. She reaches out and slaps her hand away. All right, moving on to the Grotesquerie.
It's tough to pronounce. Grotesquerie.
Grotesquerie, which is an FX show starring, as we mentioned, the Niecy Nash, who is the black chick on Reno 911. And also, thank God, we didn't get to this shit, but stars Travis Kelce. So happy he was not in this episode. Although it would have been nice to yell about how I'm sick of seeing Travis Kelce everywhere. But he's apparently in this show as a guy named Ed Lachlan.
Interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, and Maciella Diamond is in it as a weird looking, I don't even know what you'd call her. A girl that you might have sex with, but you'd be like, I just did it because I like Picasso.
Is that the one who's the nun? The nun
she's
chick?
the nun. Here, I'll show her on the screen so people can see what she looks like. Because she's recognizable. Like you would, Maciella Diamond. You recognize her, but
I did not recognize her.
I don't recognize her.
Really? I've seen her in other things for sure.
She looks like she's the right choice for that role. She kind of looks
weird,
skeleton-y.
She's a weird chick. Filmography. She was in Tick Tick Boom. Great. She was in Grotesquerie, The Gilded Age,
Miss that.
She was in Up Here. I know I've seen this chick before. Well, maybe I've just seen pictures of weird looking broads. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those people like, hey, you see just a weird looking girl in the street? Are you Maciela Diamond? And you're like, no. I'm just a weird looking girl who had parents who drank a lot. You're like, oh.
Maciela Sapphire. I'm a cousin.
I'm also less than attractive. Like, it's really, when you first see her, she plays a nun in the show. And by the way, can I just say, this show, we're going to talk more about it, but this show and our last show that we reviewed have a lot in common in that they star, they've got black female detectives, and yet they also have random white weird chicks that these detectives are like, you should go in the crime scene.
Yeah.
You should solve this case, nun or maid, whatever it is. Solve the case for me. Solve the mass murder, and I'll tell you everything about it. It's fucking driving me bonkers. What the fuck is the theme? Why is this happening?
I'm not a lawyer or a law talking guy, but I can't imagine that if you're trying to collect evidence for an investigation, that you're allowed to just let randos onto the crime scene, and then I'm supposed to present evidence that a person who's not been trained to collect evidence. You can't just have rando people hanging out.
Well, it's called the chain of custody, Don.
Okay,
and you would be correct.
Yeah, right. You can't. Thank you.
Especially with
you have to be authorized to go into those places because.
So, how is the nun not gonna? How'd you collect the blood? Well, I got a napkin and I kind of pulled it together with my hands.
Yeah. I went to the neighbor's house. I had the neighbor help me, and then the trash man. I stepped
in a pool of blood. I tracked it everywhere in my nun shoes, and frankly, it was off-putting. I feel her weird pubic nun hairs fell out, completely ruined the crime scene. They did forensic testing. Wrong person completely. Yeah, idiotic. Okay, so let's go back on this and explain it. So again, Niecy Nelly, I think that's her name is Niecy Nancy. Niecy Nash. Thank you, Niecy Nash. She is the black chick from Reno 911 who was awesome on that show. Very funny. In this, she plays what I can only describe as a joyless, one-note, boss bitch character that is very unlikable until the very end, where she kind of has a scene with her husband that makes her a little softer. But it falls in the cliche mold of like, okay, another boss.
The cliche.
I'm so tough. And,
the cliche cop that has a drinking problem, right? She's got a flask, right? So she likes drinking, right? It's because the detective life is so hard. I have to drink when trouble's away all the time.
I like the scene, and this is jumping ahead, and we'll have to go back, where she comes home from the first crime scene, which was quite grisly. Her very obese daughter.
You like that her belly was sticking out hugely?
Very obese enough.
Very odd to add to TV.
That her sitting on a couch with her giant belly hanging out of a tank top,
eating.
Good idea for a scene.
Eating. Thank you, Don. Eating taquitos, and they showed her every time she ate a taquito. They decided the directing style was to show her dipping the taquito in guacamole every time. They must have cut to guacamole and taquitos 10 times.
We know she's fat, and this is kind of why.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I didn't see every taquito of the 24 taquitos dipped in the avocado. And then again, they did it with like olives or something where they're like, now show her eating the olive 8 times. I'm like,
if we're going to show how she got to be 400 pounds, we're going to be here for a while. You can't just show her eating olives and taquitos.
There's a flash eating Cheetos and dipping them in ranch.
The truth, she should have been eating the Tyson's chicken coming out of microwave garbage, like
dipping her fingers in ranch and dipping the fingers in ranch in a nacho cheese and just licking them. That's hardcore.
I'd like to see her dipping a Big Mac in nacho cheese. I bet she could do it.
She could do it all. Well, apparently she was on the show. Her daughter, they had a flashaway scene where she's telling her husband, who's in like a coma. We don't know what happened to him yet. He's in a vegetative state, in the hospital. And they have a weird
Mhm.
scene where she goes and the nurse is like, I don't know, got a clit hard on for this this guy. She's got his beautiful mind, even though he's been passed out the whole time in a coma. And about how when she wipes his ass, she can tell he's got it going on up there. So that's a one creepy character. But we have the scene where she's telling the husband that the daughter wants to go on a show called like $500 Super Hoe or something. Or you remember what the show is called?
No.
My half ton.
Yeah, my
something
half
or other.
ton
Like, she
life
wants
or
to be
something.
Yeah,
it's
she
gonna.
wants to be
It's like a
famous
reality show for being a fat person.
Yeah,
Right? Like, yeah,
it's kind of
for
like when
sure.
Homer Simpson is
Yeah.
striving to get on disability for being fat. That's what this is. It's
Oh,
literally
okay.
the
See, I missed
same
that, right.
exact
So
concept.
she wants to be. That's why she's eating like a fiend, right? So
Yeah.
And the mom's a detective. She knows that the girl shouldn't be eating that way. She's not a dumb person. But I guess the girl's got this dream to be on the
Everyone know
show.
you should be eating that way? Do you have to be a
Yeah. Okay. I missed that part
I'm
of
no
the
detective.
I missed that part of the character
I think you
development
should
that
consume
she's
less than 10,000 calories a day.
it is FX. They're like, what did the Simpsons do? We should
What
just
I
follow
like
the
oh yeah,
Simpsons.
what Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
I like that the daughter too, the morbid abuse daughters to the mom. She's like, "Mom, you haven't used that exercycle once because you drink too much." And the
That was
mom's
good
like,
one.
"I'll get to it," instead of like, "Hey,
Bitch.
fat crap, what you?
How about
get
you
on there?"
use it?
She can't even walk around the house. Oh my gosh.
I'm anorexic compared to you.
So I'll tell you what went through my mind as they're introducing that character to me. I thought, oh, this is the way that they're going to introduce the
Boner killing
person.
aspect of the show.
No, every show seems to have a handicapped person on it, whether it's somebody with a missing limb or a stutter or a
That was perfect timing. You, as you said,
ear
stutter. Your
implant.
feed froze.
Yeah.
Stutter.
So this one they went with an obese person. They're like, oh, this is a medical thing. This will cover the
tax
box
credits.
check. Right.
This will get the fat People's Coalition of America off our backs.
Right. Like the fat people that are like, hey, no one's featuring us in movies. Like we have a problem too. And like, okay, here you are. You could be the handicapped daughters overweight.
Yeah. Well, they definitely. She says fat shaming at one point. Well, okay, going back a little bit.
It's just so unnecessary for a storyline. It has nothing to do with the story.
I didn't bring up the part that I wanted to mention is, when the daughter's annoying her, she's like, I'm going to bed. And I'm looking, and obviously she's a drunk, and you're like, and then you're waiting for her. And then she's like, swipes the bottle of vodka and takes it away.
Yeah. Atta girl.
Right.
I like I'm almost out of vodka. I might have to go grab a beer.
Well, all the mix-ins that she probably bought for her delicious vodka, the daughter just drank them all by herself. She's like, oh, pineapple juice. Thank you. I'll drink that. What is this? Ginger beer? I'll drink that. She probably took all the delicious vodka mix-ins.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. Olive juice for my dirty martini. She probably drank that too.
Popping the bottom of the bottle.
Exactly. It's like, you
Gargling
drink my
olives.
olive juice? I was trying to make some martinis. She goes, now it's just
Rico, stop watching the World Series. It sucks. Fuck both of them. All right. So anyway, let's get back into how the show begins. So it starts off with credits that are kind of in like a weird gothic Nazi style. And it opens up with her waking up from a dream, which I hate. Very cliche. She has some bad dream and wakes up from. But then you get into the scene. She rolls into the scene, and there's a million cops there in the small town. And the Grotesquerie name is appropriate. This, by the way, is a Ryan Murphy show. And Ryan Murphy is known for doing this kind of shit. But this one, I think, goes beyond what I've seen before, because it was truly disgusting what you see. I mean, the opening scene is like kids and a mom tied to a table with flesh shoved in their throats. And then you find out later what happened. Like the dad's head's cut off, it's baking in the oven. The kids were force fed and choked on the dad that was cut up and put in their mouths. I mean, really? Yeah. I don't need to see it. I'll tell you that. Save it for the Saw films. I don't need to see it in a I just don't. And I'm not, I mean, it didn't make me nauseous. I'm like, I just don't need to see this ever.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It seemed like they were making a show version of Seven. That
exactly.
Movie. with
100%.
Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, right? So it's like
Yeah.
weird religious-y stuff, a murder where the guy's so caught up in his beliefs that he has to kill people in weird ways. So
Yeah, because that's the thing. He kills them in
I kind of didn't hate
different-
that part about it. I go, oh right, it's like a murder show. They could always make them better though. They just started. They're so poorly. The stories are so told so poorly. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, she wakes up in a dream, goes straight to the thing. They don't develop anything creepy. They could show like the guy preparing to go do the murder, right? You don't have to show the murder, but like show something, layering it a little bit where it's not just like, oh, murder scene. Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
It's just
He did have two murder scenes in one episode. I mean, the second
Yeah, the
he
second one
chops
was
up a
pretty
bunch of
bad too.
addicts, and
that was cool. I thought that was
that's how
pretty
you know.
cool.
Like I like that she's like suspects. She's like the nun. And by the way, so the nun shows up that we were talking about. The weird nun shows up out of nowhere and apparently writes for a Catholic social justice publication. And she's like, "Oh, these people that were killed,
hilarious.
It was so stupid." And she goes, and then they're talking about the victim. She's like, "Oh, they were devout and they were very into social justice." We're like, what the fuck are you talking about? What were they killed for their social justice? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
That Trump.
I'm telling you, it's almost like they just have boxes they need to check. Like, did the show have a handicap or somebody? Yes.
Yeah.
Did they say the word social justice? Yes. And they're not even trying to weave it into the story. There's like, and they like social justice.
Yeah. They were Catholics they were social justice Catholics. Like,
can you use it in a sentence? Yes.
Okay.
Social
and then they don't
justice and
explain
Catholicism is cool.
Yeah, it was Mad Libs. Like, explain it. What does that mean? They're like, nah, they were. Okay.
They're like social justice.
Really, moving on.
What are you? You're against justice?
Yeah, but you don't like social? You don't like justice?
Yeah. When the Jew says it makes sense.
On the show.
So, there you go.
My little daughter yelling under the door as usual. And then, so the nun comes, she talks to the nun, and then decides just to spill her guts about the entire crime scene, which, by the way, cops never did. I see your hand.
Good one. Nailed it.
Yeah, I was intrigued by that character. I'm like, how does she know so much? But then they didn't kind of develop that at all.
Oh, because she's the one killing them.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you think, like,
I'm thinking the nun's in on it. The nun knows what's going on.
And you know what music was playing because how it just seemed appropriate.
Oh, yeah, that was creepy too.
And then you
It
show
just makes sense. But then also, look,
crime scene.
The second crime scene, there's crackheads stapled to the walls, at near the top of the wall. A nun alone cannot do that. That's not a nun, unless she's the flying nun. Oh, what a crossover!
Those
Hollywood,
bodies...
call me.
Oh yeah,
the flying murdering nun.
Hollywood's like, what we need is more nun-centric Catholics movies.
We need more social justice Catholics and flying nuns who murder.
We need more nuns, more social justice, more heavyweight black chicks.
Yeah, we always do. We have enough of those. Even Lizzo's like, they've got enough of those. I need to lose weight. She knows what's up. So, yeah, but this stupid nun, she confesses, like, she tells her everything about the crime scene, the motivations, then she suspects her, but then the nun shows up to the next crime scene, just knows where it is, shows up, and then, this is the crackheads that got murdered, she just walks into the fucking crime scene. Just walks in. Yeah, nobody stops her. There's no police just start watching the door. They're like, oh yeah, go on in, nun. Have a ball.
Only the weirdest murder to ever happen in the town within the last day. But yeah, the crime scene's open. You just walk in, go ahead, go look at the bodies. It's like Chief Wiggum. Chief Wiggum. He's Crowder, come see the crime.
Boy, I'm really puzzled on this one. Yeah. And then after she's like, you can't be in here. What are you doing in here? Then she's like, okay, go ahead back in and take notes. And she's like,
tell me what you see.
Again,
And then
violates every and the other cop's like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Yes, you're right. Other cop that knows what he's doing. This would ruin the crime scene and contaminate it. It would all be whatever you find in there now, ruined. Because a lunatic nun is in there. So stupid.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice the cop is making.
Right.
Unconventional, some would say.
Awful. Oh, so stupid. So stupid. That's what I'm saying. It's like the theme of fall 2024 shows. People that should not be involved with criminal investigations being taken to crime scenes and letting to fuck around in them.
Right.
On their own volition with no oversight. It happened in what is it? High Potential. And it happened again in this show.
Yeah, but
I'm just gonna go to a crime scene if I see one and just walk in and just.
I've been watching.
Don, you're looking for a job. This is how Don finds a job. He walks into random crime scenes, and when you don't even have to do anything, Don. Just walk out and be like, "I think you guys got it wrong." They'll be like,
"I'll say there's blood over there."
Tell me
do you
more.
want a job on the force? What do? You're like, I used to sell tiles. They're like, oh, I think this guy's got some insight.
I run a successful podcast. It's not this one. It's a different one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. No, I couldn't run anything successful now. I wish. Yeah, no, I'm looking for crime scenes. We ought to start wandering into people's homes and say, any crimes you need me to solve? I've watched lots of TV.
I like that.
You're from a social justice tile warehouse.
Yes,
yeah,
I love social justice, and
I only lay white tiles so you can stomp on them.
There is
social justice tiles.
It is the most. Well, it depends. If you're getting Chinese tile, ain't much social justice with those ones. If you get some nice European tile, yeah, maybe some people got an equal wage.
Justice. Toss a little SJ. So,
yeah.
Do you think they literally started this show like Ryan Murphy just got told a joke and he's like, that's going to make a great show? Because the show is literally a black chick, a nun, and a murderer walk into a bar. And he's like, stop right there.
Yeah.
That's a new show for FX. Because that's what it is. A black chick, a nun, and a murderer. And then you just fill in the rest. And the jokes write themselves.
Feels like
a black chick, a nun, and a murderer. They go and kill some social justice Catholics, and you're like, done. Punchline delivered. No more joke has to be written.
They're like, oh, we love it.
Episode 2 goes full comedy. It's a drastic 180 from episode 1.
Yeah,
that's when they bring the rabbi in.
I don't remember the ending.
For comic relief.
You don't remember what?
The ending. Oh, so there was a scene where like someone breaks into the cop's home, right? And then she just starts firing a gun.
Well, what happens is she hears something. What does she hear? She hears this. She hears the same Mozart song that was on at the.
Which, by the way, I'm sorry, just to stop real quick. Do you realize how retarded it is? She comes home and she hears a radio tuning.
Yeah,
like on like an old radio. She's an old radio, and somebody's because people have those. And the guy breaks into the house, and he's like, "Boy, I hope this song's on one of these stations. Let me just usually they play it. Oh, got it. Now let me run out of your house."
Thank God. It's been weird.
Well, no. What really happened is
that time on my creeping out
all request radio show, and he called in just before he broke in the house.
What you didn't hear.
I'd like to send this one out.
What you didn't hear was him pairing his Bluetooth to her radio. The bloop 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 bloop.
Oh, that's sound. What it was. It just makes a radio tuning sound.
He then has to put the song on his phone, but then he can't run away too far. He has to run just around the house so that his Bluetooth feed from his phone keeps playing the song. Because if he runs too far away, then the song turns off.
I mean, if it was me, if I were doing a Bluetooth thing, I would put the song on. Then I'd wait outside the house and then hit play so that I couldn't be shot at.
Right. There you go. Nothing makes sense, right? Why'd you go there to push power and then you had to leave, but somehow you were able to get the correct song on? Ooh, unless there's like magical powers.
It is a grotesquerie.
Ooh, yes. That'd be cool. It's like
I just imagine she comes in, she's got her gun drawn. He's like, 1 second. hey there, you're an all-star. You're just like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't
I
it.
Yeah.
hate that.
And today in election news. Yeah, that would be.
It was such a stupid thing. When
The other funny thing
like
is,
you said, with modern technology, you can
Yeah.
just play it on a Bluetooth. Buy a little Bluetooth speaker you can just put in your kitchen and fucking leave it. It'll cost you $5, man. Not worth
Also,
tuning the radio to do it.
how does a cop with a obese daughter not have any kind of like surveillance system in her kitchen? Because you want to
Like
be
one of
able
those
to-
piggies that when you open the fridge door, it goes.
Yeah, or some kind of camera. I mean, like cops are the most paranoid people in the world.
She has a ring camera in it. Her daughter opens the door. She goes, "Hey, little piggy, what you doing?" That'd be hilarious. I should buy one of those.
I mean, they make child locks on things like microwaves and also refrigerators. You think she'd put that on, but maybe she's on board with growing the daughter to get her on
No,
TV.
she's not. She's not. 'Cause we had the
yeah.
scene at the end. She's like she goes to her vegetable husband after the nurse. So the creepy nurse, who's I don't even know, British, I think. The creepy nurse gives her the riot act because when she goes to visit her husband, the creepy nurse who I mentioned earlier, like I don't know, has some clit wiggles going on for her husband in a coma, as you do. She is ripping her ass up in a very odd scene while she's slowly eating olives about how she's not showing her husband enough love. And the lead chick curses her out and was like, fuck you. And the nurse is like, you got to come hold him and tell him you love him. You got to tell him you love him or else I'll steal him away.
She goes, he can hear you. He can see, he can sense, he can see and hear what's happening. It's not like
he's in there. His butthole clenches when I wipe it. I'm a nurse.
Yeah,
It's what I
yeah.
do.
I
Harry.
can feel it. I'll put my
Harry
finger in
Potter.
there. I'll push it in there. He pushes it back out. He does. That's what I got me
He
on
communicates through Morse code. He squeezes my finger. He says, tell my wife I'm leaving her. So anyway, she
That would be an
goes in.
amazing talent.
I've been practicing it in case something happens to me.
I'm known as the Morse Clitler.
Oh, nice. Morse Clitler. Better than Hitler's Hitler.
That's something a cereal. That's like a cereal for people that. Oh, anyway. So she goes in the last scene and she's kind of like lying on her husband and giving him hugs and snuggles and taking the nurse's advice to talk to him. And she does tell him that she misses him. And she talks about a dive bar that closed. So that humanized her at least a little bit. And that's what she was doing right before she came home to shoot at the guy. Which also, she's in like a residential neighborhood. I couldn't see exactly where she was shooting, but
Looked like a big backyard. No, nothing to worry about.
I don't know. When they showed it later, there's a house right across the street. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's far away.
Yeah. Just let off like 5 shots in your backyard. No big deal.
I mean, far away to me and you is far, but to a bullet, a lot closer.
Lose its steam.
I imagine if it was real life, no detective is allowed to fire their gun in their backyard like that without their commanding officer.
She don't follow the rule.
Well, also, I think in general, you're not allowed to just. I mean, I know she knows. Oh, he puts on Requiem after finding on the radio for 4 minutes. In general, you're not allowed, as a cop, especially if somebody is in your house and flees your house, even as a private citizen. I'm pretty sure if that person was unarmed and ran away and didn't try to attack me, I would 100% be arrested for murder if I just shot and killed that person.
What
If
we
they
don't know
if
what
they had already
state
left
he lives in,
and they weren't 100% murdered, arrested.
Yeah,
in California,
not exactly, imminent threat right there.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but no, that guy's part of the murderers.
We've
don't know
already
that.
established this cop don't play by the rules.
no,
She's a
she
drunk.
only
And
drinks
she's a
vodka.
drunk.
She only lets her daughter eat taquitos. That's how they established that. I like this. Unlike other cops where they're like beating people up in the interrogation room, she's just like taquitos, and all I eat is eggs and vodka. Oh, the farts of her. By the way, there was a scene where the nun was like,
She's Russian.
She goes to the first murder scene, and she's like, it smelled acrid. And you know what we found? A lot of sulfur dioxide. Now that I think about it, all this bitch does is eat eggs and drink vodka.
That's
the
her
sulfur
shit.
is probably her fucking ripping ass in the murder scene and then being like, it smells strange.
You're saying that she's the killer,
and everyone's like,
and then
"Ooh, it smells like sulfur." She's like, "That's Satan." It's your egg farts. It's your egg vodka farts. That's what you're smelling.
It is.
Starting
That's
to come
true.
together.
Yeah. It's like
Murder solved.
it's like
One
if
episode.
your aunt has egg salad. I mean, it's rough.
That's tough. It's a tough one. Well, I will say I will not be watching another episode of this.
I thought about perhaps watching more because I was intrigued in kind of the cult aspect of the killings and what insight the nun might provide. And then you told me that Travis Kelce was going to be in.
It's a big letdown.
Yeah. I think I would. I think I like some of the other Ryan Murphy productions.
Well, Nip Tuck was great. I used to love that.
Yeah.
Show.
And his name rings a bell. I think he's on other stuff that I've seen. But I think if this show wasn't on FX, it might be better, right? Let's say this was on Max or Netflix, where it was more, less made for TV, where maybe they could do a little bit more dark stuff. Because it does seem like an interesting story, the murders, the whole religious cult thing. But I just feel like FX is just going to make it like the same old stupid thing over again, where every 30-minute episode is going to drag on to the next episode.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I think if
Ryan
it was
Murphy
on
shows never end. That's the thing.
No,
they go on 7 seasons.
Yeah.
So we'll keep dragging on. And listen, it's a 7 ripoff. It's a ripoff of the movie 7. Like, what's in the box? We're never going to find out what's in the box. Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Bastards. Oh, back to the box.
Was it Gwyneth Paltrow's head in the box? It was, right?
Yeah, we found out what was in the box.
No, I remember in the movie, but I forgot it was Gwyneth Paltrow. God, where is that guy now?
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Brad Pitt?
Yeah. No, the guy that cut her head off. Where's he?
Come back. He got in a little bit of trouble, but yeah, isn't he coming back?
I want to see that goop in a box.
That guy got in trouble for gooping in a box.
Hey, gooping in a pie.
Yeah.
That's our episode. That's what we bring to the table here at the First Episode Podcast.
And then
high
go
quality
to
reviews.
Go to our online store for the pie scented candle that's been fucked.
You can buy one that has and hasn't been. That's the First Episode Podcast choice.
Fucks pies.
It takes a while to fill the orders because Brian has to fuck the candle.
We're going. If you go to firstepisodepodcast.com /candle vote, you could buy right now. Cast your vote for who you think is going to win the presidential election. If you think it's Kamala Harris, you buy the pie that's been fucked. If you think that it's going to be Trump, you buy the unfucked pie. And we'll see who wins. That's
why those
candle, by the way.
bakeries are rigged. Everyone knows.
Do you remember that stupid thing? Like, there's a bakery that always forecasts whoever like they make cookies for who's going to win the election. So stupid.
Right. It was like
I'd rather watch an octopus pick who's going to win. The octopi, no, they're not from this planet. I saw an Ancient Aliens on it.
The octopus won my fantasy football league.
Aliens winning our fantasy football. That's where you go when that guy got to the moon after freaking out in the box. He got to the moon and an octopus was like, "Welcome to Walmart."
What the fuck are you doing here, buddy?
Yeah, Octopus Mart. Fuck out of here.
Go clean the puke room.
All right, I gotta get out. My kids are going ape shit. What do you give it? What grades do you give it?
This one gets a C from me. It's mediocre at best. You'll watch it if you don't have other content.
Yeah,
that's it.
Rico?
Yeah, C. C is fair. Kind of an interesting whatever. The crime, the nature of the crime is interesting. The rest is
yeah, kind of one note. I gave it a C minus. But yeah, I'm not going to go back to it. All right. So next episode, I don't have a new show in mind yet. We have to scout what's coming out in November. But for an old show, I want to do Peep Show, which is available to watch on Tubi, on any number of the free TV apps. It's one of my favorite shows.
Or is it it's a show?
No, It's a show.
Because I saw a Peep Show movie was advertised.
No.
Oh,
Well, I
Don.
know you've been to several peep shows. I know. Speaking of spooge. So this doesn't involve cleaning anything off your shoes, is the good news.
You put
It's
you put a
British
quarter
show.
in and you look in and you do this.
Yeah. Amazing. Like, what a deal. What a deal. A quarter.
Quarter to
God.
see some ankle.
It's inflation. So Peep Show is what I want to do next show. It's a great British show. It's hilarious. And it's it's like kind of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Kids in the Hall, just shaking your head like, God, this is awkward. And these are awful people.
Oh,
It's kind of like Always
okay.
Sunny. It's a British Always Sunny as well. They do terrible things and you just got to laugh. So that's the old show. If anybody's got a new show to throw out, I'm open to it. Otherwise, we'll figure it out for next episode.
You haven't seen anything. I haven't really looked, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, if there's anything that falls in that same theme too, that could be fun as well.
A new
Perverts.
British show.
British show or like what you described it as, kind of it seems like
A new Curb.
right,
We'll
like
see.
all right, well, yeah, we'll see. That's all we can
Figure it
do.
out.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to go subscribe to the audio podcast. We appreciate those of you watching along with the live show, obviously. Like the show, hit that subscribe button. And yes, please do download the audio podcast. Even if you don't listen to it, just do it to do it.
Just download it. That's what I do.
Do it. Shut up, Rico. And at some point, we're going to have a TikTok if one of my two co-hosts could get off their ass and do anything whatsoever.
I've told my assistant to do it, and I just need to hire an assistant.
Excellent. Good night, New York. Be safe. Check your kids' candy for razor blades, condoms, and of course, fucked pies.
It was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!